Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Exterior. Konoha, back hills, forest, morning. Confronted by 6 Iwa Kunoichi, and unarmed except for hastily grabbed kunai, 6-year-old Naruto Uzumaki held a two-pronged kunai in reverse grip. He wore a navy long-sleeved shirt, black pants, a small backpack, and sandals. I'm not impressed by how easily I was able to lure you into my trap, deadpanned Uzumaki, so, this is the part where you surrender. What trap, brat? Demanded the Iowa squad leader. In a flash, Naruto shot gold adamantine chains from his back, binding them whilst wooden pillars shot out of the ground. Then the pillars grew tendrils and roots that wrapped around each prisoner's limbs, joints and waistlines whilst shifting into Y-frames, draining their chakra in the process. Wood clones strictly and efficiently bound the prisoners further whilst placing movement restricting and chakra suppression seals on them, further preventing the prisoners' chances of escape. Naruto cheekily grinned. That one. Let us go, brat. Growled one of the prisoners. Why would I let spies go free? Scoffed Naruto. As pretty as you ladies are, letting you go right after capturing you would be counterproductive. Ya no. The Iowa squad leader snapped. You. Sorry, Kunoichi-san, but I don't know where you've been. Nor do I know who or what else has already been inside of you or any of your holes, replied Uzumaki, making the prisoners blush bright red at the implication before he gagged them, took several photos of each prisoner, and searched them for any hidden weapons and seals. As his prisoners glared, Naruto mentioned, by the way, Anko-chan, Neko-chan, Wolf-chan, Tenzo-nichan, Canary-chan, Raven-nichan, Dove-chan, Owl-nichan, Crow-nichan, and Inu-nichan, you can all come out now. Coast is clear, and the spies have been subdued, before his clones disappeared. As Anko Mitarashi, age 15, accompanied by a handful of ANBU, stepped into the open with an amused grin, Naruto held out a large box full of dango. Happy birthday, Anko-chan. I got you some new toys to play with, and your favorite dango. Ah, now here's a sweetheart who knows how to spoil me, and make me feel special. Mused Anko, who met Naruto at eye level, smiled, kissed his cheeks and forehead, and hugged him closely, burying his face in the cleavage of her large S. Looking up into her eyes with flushed cheeks, Naruto beamed, I'll always spoil you and make you feel special, when I get the chance, because you're very precious to me, Anko-chan. Heartwarmed, Anko beamed, and you're precious to me too, Naru-kun. The Iowa squad was increasingly unnerved by their captor and his choice of companions. Arriving out of breath, Iruka sighed in relief. Naruto, thank Kami that you're okay. I got worried when you didn't come to class. Shikamaru told me he saw you heading out here. Did you know there were enemy shinobi sighted, or were you just skipping class? Some civilian-born classmates lied that they'd be my friends if I brought back a souvenir from yesterday's skirmish. I didn't actually believe them. Regardless, I decided to lure the scouts into a trap, capture them, and signal the ANBU by flaring up my chakra. I've got cage-level reserves, so I'll need to work on my chakra control way harder than everyone else. As your sensei, I'd like you to tell me if anyone tries to trick you like that again. You could have been hurt, kidnapped or. Why would Iowa kidnap me? What am I worth to Iowa, when most of Konoha treats me like I'm worthless? Asked Naruto, skeptical. Why would Iowa want one of my kind in their village? Your kind? Asked Anko as she met Uzumaki at eye level. Aren't I a demon, like the villagers claim, while terrorizing, torturing, abusing, and beating me as close to death as they can? Replied Naruto, making everyone including the prisoners flinch. Kissing Naruto's forehead and cheeks, Anko wrapped her arms around him. No, you're not a demon, devil or monster. And don't let anyone convince you otherwise. You're Naruto Uzumaki, and you're my favorite treasure. Giving Mitarashi a kiss on the cheek, Naruto hugged her with all his might. I love you with all my heart, Anko Haim. With flushed cheeks, the snake mistress returned, "Ah, I love you too, Naru-kun." As Iruka turned towards him, Naruto asked, "Can my file say this was my first S-rank mission? I literally just captured 6 Iowa spies, who are all Jonin, by myself. And I expect full ANBU level payment for this. How about I treat you to some ramen? How about I get properly paid for single-handedly capturing Iowa spies? And how about people keep their hands off of my well-deserved and earned money? Excuse me, a bowl of ramen won't pay my bills, ya know. You know I'm overcharged basically everywhere I go, and I live alone." Finally noticing the prisoner's state of undress, Iruka, Inu, Owl and Tenzo were sent rocketing back by massive nosebleeds. "Why are they?" asked Wolf, amused. "After eating all of their food without them noticing, I destroyed their clothes, sealed away their equipment and any items of value, and found them bathing. Then I took some photos, and gave myself a little head start before leading them into a trap." "Cheeky Naru-chan," giggled Dove. "It was a little perverted to make them," stated Canary. "Erasing evidence of them being here is standard procedure," replied Uzumaki, "and little more stands out more than a shinobi's uniform." "Point taken. Naruto, please don't scare me like this again," pleaded Iruka as he recovered. "I can't make promises like that, ya know," pointed out Uzumaki. Later. Interior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, Ibiki's office. "I want to join ANBU," declared Naruto, completely serious. "Why do you want to join up?" asked Ibiki, almost spilling his coffee. "The ANBU's been protecting me since I was a newborn, and saved my life so many times. It's always looking out for me and watching over me, and it's the closest I have to a family. Where would we even put you? With the squad already under orders to protect me. It'd save time tracking me down if I'm with them. And one of the best ways to protect me is to raise me, and train me until I'm more than strong enough to protect myself. I see your logic, and it's sound, for a gaki. I may be 6 years old, but I'm not innocent. If I may recommend a codename for myself within the ANBU, I suggest Yami Kitsune. I like it. I'll be mutually loyal, respectful, supportive and trusting of those who are towards me without an ulterior motive. I won't give blind loyalty, support, respect or trust. If I did, I'd be dead by now. Good to know you're wise for your age. Also, we wouldn't want the politicians interfering with ANBU affairs, so they can't find out. Especially Danzo Tem, the war-mongering pedophile. I wouldn't let him anywhere near an asset like a Jinchuriki. I'm a human being, not a machine, weapon, or tool." "Agreed. As my new CO, you should know that I've met and been speaking to the Kyuubi vixen. She says I can trust you because you were on my mother's ANBU squad, and you're one of my godfathers along with Jiraiya-sensei," informed Uzumaki as he looked into Ibiki's eyes. The scarred ANBU veteran nodded. "Does that mean you know your heritage? Also, Kyuubi's a she." "Yes to both, and keeping my heritage a secret is honestly hurting me more than revealing it would. At least let people know I have godparents so I can have a legal guardian, for Kami's sake. And keeping that I'm a real Uzumaki a secret is hindering my development as a ninja." "What are we discussing?" asked Hiruzen as he entered, accompanied by a teenage boy with short dark curled hair, fair skin and black eyes. "The kid knows his heritage, and he wants to join ANBU," answered Morino, "and he's making a reasonable case. I'm open to becoming an interrogator too," added Uzumaki. "I saw it all through my crystal ball," said Hiruzen. "This is a very serious matter to discuss." "Hi, Gramps." "Hi, Shisui Nichan," greeted Naruto. "Hey, Naruto," greeted Shisui the teleporter. "What's this I heard about you becoming an interrogator? After all the things the villagers have done to me, I have plenty of ideas and inspiration for what I'd do to a prisoner under interrogation. Especially if I'll be interrogating and torturing members of the civilian council. I know people say ANBU members need darkness, and I'm pretty sure being a Jinchuriki fills that requirement." A few days later. Interior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, Team RO Barracks, morning. As he entered in an ANBU uniform, Uzumaki was greeted by warm and friendly smiles. Hello, Naruto, greeted Neiko, age 14, as she knelt down and removed her mask. I'm Yugao Azuki. You already know me, I'm Shisui, added Shisui, holding a crow mask. I'm Hazashi Hyuga, said Owl as he revealed long dark hair and pale eyes without pupils. Hi, Hazashi Nisan, said Naruto. You know you love me, the Y Anko Mitarashi. Sweetly said Anko, and I'm all yours when you're older, Naru-kun. When I'm old enough, I want to have my first time with you, Anko Haim, blurted Naruto, earning a blush from the snake mistress. You want to lose your virginity to me. I trust you not to take advantage of me, or force me into it. Kurenai-chan's welcome to join in if she wants to. If you weren't so cute, innocent and adorable, I'd almost think you were the youngest pervert ever for suggesting a threesome between you, me and Nai-chan. My point is I trust both and either of you, and Wolf-chan as well, to take care of me. I know I'll be in good hands if my first time is with you. And people call the activity making love, but also say things like, share the love, and, the more the merrier, too. Holding her sides, Anko erupted into laughter. I call dibs on teaching you about when you're older. I'm more of a physical, hands-on, and practical learner than a theoretical one, mentioned Uzumaki, making the hysterically laughing Anko fall onto her fine, and the other kunoichi in the room blushed and laughed. Sume Inuzuka, self-introduced a young, feral-looking kunoichi, age 21, holding a wolf mask with red markings. I'm classmates with your son and daughter, said Uzumaki. I can tell from their markings and their facial features. Good eye, pup, praised Sume. I am Itachi Uchiha, said Raven, who removed his mask. Dove removed her mask, revealing fair skin, short brown hair, a purple stripe on each cheek, and hazel eyes. I'm Rin Nohara. I'm Izumi Uchiha, self-introduced Canary as she removed her mask, revealing fair skin, onyx eyes, and shoulder-length black hair. There's 3 Uchiha on the squad, thought Naruto. Interesting. Tenzo Yamato, said a young man, age 23, with shoulder-length brown hair. Kakashi Hatake, self-introduced Inu, who removed his ANBU mask, and, to everyone else's shock, pulled down his face mask, revealing an overkill handsome face. Your left eye's covered, Kakashi Nichan. Does it need fixing? Asked Uzumaki. I had a transplant, but it was a rushed procedure in the field, so I have to be careful when I use it, explained Kakashi. The transplanted eye has a Sharingan, but I can't turn it off. I can fix that for you, insisted Naruto, if you'd like, earning speechless expressions. As the official team medic, I'll approve the attempt, mentioned Yugao, having complete faith in the kid. Naruto placed a hand, glowing with golden chakra, over Kakashi's revealed left eye before the silver-haired Jonin's stance relaxed. Then he withdrew his hand. It's done, but you should take some time to get used to it. You'll still have your Sharingan, but now you can turn it off when it's not needed. Thank you, said Hatake as he looked in a hand mirror to see his facial scar was gone. You could try going without the face mask when you're not on a mission. Maybe. So, what code name have you received, Naruto? Asked Yugao. Yami Kitsune, answered Naruto, who donned an expressionless black fox-like hunter nin mask with dark red eye outlines and whiskers. What do you think? You look so cute in your little uniform, but powerful and intimidating in your mask. I thought a fox mask would be a token of respect, friendship with, and acknowledgement of Kurama-chan, or Kara-chan for short. Yeah, I've already met her, and she says Mum wore a similar mask, said Naruto as he removed his mask. Kyuubi's a girl. Sweet. Mused Anko. That brings, hell hath no wrath like a woman scorned, to a whole new level. Oh, you have no idea how right you are, thought Kara. That makes her more terrifying, commented Tenzo. Naruto, you befriended the Nine Tails? Wondered Yugao, amazed and concerned. Yes, admitted Uzumaki, Kara-chan also says that Mum would be very proud of you. Rin-chan, Itachi, Sum-chan and Kakashi like a parent would be proud of their children. And that when he reaches the afterlife, she'll hit and yell at Kakashi for not letting her see that handsome face even once while she was alive. For not adopting me after she raised him as her son following Sakumo-kun's death. And for reading something called smut in public. Earning smiles and chuckles. When you're with us, you can turn off your appearance masking seal, informed Kakashi. Naruto's complexion became fairer. His hair transitioned from blonde to Uzumaki red, his whiskers became smaller, and his eyes turned purple with a ring pattern. So, how do I look? Itachi, Izumi, Hazashi and Shisui's eyes widened. Rinnegan. Yes. Confirmed Naruto, who deactivated the dojutsu, revealing blue eyes. What should we teach you to start off with? Wondered Sum. How about I show what I can already do, and we start from there? Suggested Uzumaki. Sounds good, pup. We'll make you a master of weapons, sealing, and jutsu before you know it, added Yugao. Can we all get a group photo together, with and without our uniforms? Asked Naruto. I've never had family photos before. Of course we can, sweetie, answered Izumi. Taking a photo together whilst cuddling, Naruto blushed as Anko kissed his cheek at the last second. Later. Interior. Konoha, ANBU, men's locker room, morning. Entering, Yami Kitsune noticed everyone, not from his squad, had gone still like deer in headlights. Hey, everyone, I'm Yami Kitsune. But you can call me either part of the codename. Do we have baby ANBU now? Asked Boar, confused. Depends if you're wearing a diaper under your uniform, Boar-chan, teased Yami Kitsune, earning laughter. Damn, you're as troublesome and feisty as the last ANBU to wear that mask, sighed Deer. I figured that out as soon as I recognized the mask, ya know. She had that verbal tick too, mused Lion. Should we expect you to go on any missions soon? Kakashi interjected. My newest protege will be undergoing a considerable amount of intense training before we even consider it. A year or two at least, since we have minimum age requirements on deployable operatives. How formidable is he so far? Asked Ox. He's full of surprises. You know those Iwa Jonin that were captured the other day? That was his handiwork. He also interrogated a couple of them personally. With the rest already on his schedule. Deer turned to Yami Kitsune. Should we be worried that you're already breaking prisoners? Yami Kitsune gave the scariest yet sweetest smile with his eyes closed, only if you're on the receiving end. Ya know. How old are you anyway? 6, turning 7, and I have no obligation to justify my being here. Troublesome, but we won't judge you. Not being judged would be a first for me. Kitsune-kun, you can relax. There are no Foundation or root agents here, or civilian council pets, little brother, assured Inu Kakashi. I know, Inu Nichan. I just don't trust new people easily. Neither do I. Yami Kitsune turned to everyone. I hope we can all be brothers. Or as the Mandalorians say, Voden. Dolphin would like you, said Deer. I agree. Uruka likes the more interesting people in the village. Any bloodlines and chakra natures we should know about, so we can take them into account when working with you. Asked Dragon. Yami Kitsune's Rinnegan met Dragon's gaze. Ibiki has a briefing to answer that. Good. Exterior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, training ground, morning. Yami Kitsune drew a kunai. I'm ready. Okay. Yami Kitsune, hit the targets, but only one throw and one kunai, instructed Anko. As he threw the kunai, Yami Kitsune quickly did a hand sign before all 1,000 targets were hit with a bullseye by the kunai and 999 kunai shadow clones, earning dropped jaws and sweat drops. What? I didn't say you could use a jutsu to help you, or to go for all of them. I was told to hit the targets with only one throw, and I did. Was it meant to ricochet off of all of the targets, or was I meant to get up close and personal? That was clever, sweetie, praised Neko, but where did you learn that jutsu? I found it inside a scroll mounted like a trophy on a wall in the Hokage's mansion. I figured it was where he kept his deluxe edition Ica Ica collection, and wanted to hold it for ransom. Of course, I opened the scroll to check before doing anything else. Since it was full of advanced jutsu instead, I figured I may as well read and learn from it before putting it back. You learn techniques from the scroll of sealing? Asked Inu, impressed and surprised. Well, the ANBU squad hiding in the room didn't try to stop me, shrugged Yami Kitsune. It turned out the Hokage saw everything through his crystal ball. You knew the guards were there? Asked Tenzo. Yeah, they need to sharpen their stealth skills. They were so lazy they could have made the Nara clan look as hyperactive as Maida Guy, answered Yami Kitsune, earning laughter. And why did you want to ransom the Hokage's Ica Ica collection? Have you seen the apartment I was given after the orphanage threw me out? Fair enough, and maybe we can do some wood-style renovations and improvements. And you can live in the barracks in the meantime. Yami Kitsune turned to Sum Wolf. Sum-chan, have you signed a summoning contract? I have. You've done what? As he stood back from his teachers, and removed his mask, Naruto called, summoning jutsu. Before a purple-robed and pointy-hooded human-like male with lightly tanned skin, and purple hair and eyes, wielding a long green staff, appeared. Greetings, I am Mahad, the Dark Magician, one of Naruto's summons. None have signed the dual spirit summoning contract since Ashura Otsutsuki. As Mahad returned to his realm, Neko asked, since we're training Naruto, what should we do about his schooling? He can't just drop out of the academy, and leave his friends behind. That would make people suspicious, and he needs to spend time with the other kids. I'll still go for the social experience. Maybe I'll play a prank on Iruka-sensei so he thinks Kakashi's disguised as me. Poor Iruka, said Itachi. Hey, Itachi-nichan, you know the Tsukuyomi. I believe my Rinnegan can use it and other abilities of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Do I even want to know how you know about that? Kurama's been explaining the different abilities of each dojutsu in case someone with the Sharingan gets any ideas about trying to control her again. She has plenty of colorful ways to describe and express how much she hates the Sharingan more than anything. I'm sure she does, and they're likely all justified given her history with it. She also says I should learn how to keep those filthy eyes from stealing the rewards of my hard work and training. And the only members of the Uchiha clan she has any respect for are you, Shisui, Makoto, and your girlfriend. Azumi's not my girlfriend. Am I invited to the wedding? You're refreshingly cheeky, mused Itachi. You know I'm going to get you back for that comment. What kind of little brother would I be if I didn't tease you a little? Asked Naruto, and can we go out for Ichiraku ramen? Itachi poked Naruto's forehead. Sorry, Naruto-kun, maybe some other time, before internally laughing at the boy's pout. I'll go with you, Naru, said Anko as she brought Naruto into a hug. We'll make it a date, and it's cold tonight so we can share my bed to keep warm. Uzumaki nodded, as you wish. What's your favorite jutsu? Naruto asked as he looked at Shisui, and can I learn it? Let's find out your elemental affinity first. I have a multi-affinity with basically everything, all types of nature release, and I can do shadow clones and all of the elemental clones. This is where the fun begins, mused Sum. Hey, Sum-heim, are you a sage too? Asked Naruto. Sum raised an eyebrow. What do you mean, too? Don't tell me you've learnt sage mode. And at your age. As his eyes became wedge-out eyes and the millennium symbol appeared on his forehead, Naruto informed, I did, and I suspect my Rinnegan made achieving it easier. Jiraiya would be so jealous that you've unlocked sage mode at 6 years old. I can tell this is something beyond normal sage mode, but Kurama-chan's not saying why. Maybe I have a special connection to nature which allows me to instinctively gather nature energy whether I'm consciously aware of it or not. Show off. As he met Shisui's gaze, Naruto asked, Shisui-nisan, can you please promise never to use Kotoamatsukami on me? Shisui nodded, I never have and never will use it on you. It took a while to earn your trust, and I won't break it. Interior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, TI Division, Interrogation Room, afternoon. Entering the cold, dark room to see one of the prisoners he'd captured tied down to a rack, in an X shape, Yami Kitsune was like a phantasm in his movements. "Whoever you are, I won't talk," said the prisoner, fear increasingly evident in her voice as she trembled upon feeling the intensity of her interrogator's key. In a deep, ominous voice, Yami Kitsune replied, "Talk. It is not my intention to make you talk. I will make you scream." Interior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, T Division, Detention Block, afternoon. Through one-way glass, Anko watched the interrogation with a bowl of popcorn. "Damn, my foxy cun's putting on a good show. I'm officially in love with him." "You're enjoying this too much," sighed Nako. "Here comes the climax." Eagerly anticipated Anko before they could swear they heard the shriek of a Nazgul. "That's the scariest orgasm sound I've ever heard." "You haven't heard mine," chuckled Wolf. Tenzo shifted uncomfortably. "I am too young to listen to this conversation." "Your minds are as dirty as Inu's book," grumbled Ibiki. "He's torturing the prisoner, not her." "They know, it's just Anko's sense of humor," replied Owl. "Speaking of, I worry how my niece would be influenced if she was introduced to Anko too soon." "Doesn't she have a crush on Naruto?" asked Dove. "Hiyashi and Hera find it adorable." "Do they have any plans to have another child yet?" asked Tenzo. "Not yet, but two of the suggested names for a girl are Kushina and Hanabi." "Kushina?" asked Wolf, smiling at the thought. "They really loved our red-hot habanero, didn't they?" "We all loved and treasured Kushina Haim," answered Hiruzen as he appeared, "just as we love and treasure her mother, Tsunade Haim." Later. Interior. Konoha, Shinobi District, Kurenai and Anko's apartment, living room, morning. "Naru-kun, you actually said that about us," giggled Kurenai, age 15, as she looked at the blushing Uzumaki who nodded. "He sure did," confirmed Sum. "And he had the cutest look on his adorable face when he did," snickered Anko. Amused, Kurenai planted a kiss upon Naruto's cheek. "You're a very cheeky yet innocent boy, and I love you for it." Hugging Yuhi, Naruto beamed, "I love you too, Nai-Haim. Always will no matter what happens." "Thank you, Naru-kun. The only one of us he didn't bring up when he said it was me," sighed Yugao. "I'm sorry for neglecting you, and making you feel left out, Yugao-chan," apologized Naruto, who hugged the purple-haired medic Nin. Hiding a blush, Yugao kissed his forehead. "Don't worry, Naru-chan. I forgive you, and will always love you, sweetie. I love you too, Kitty Haim." Looking up at Anko with indomitable determination, Naruto vowed, "Hubby Haim, I promise I'll find a way to remove your curse mark." Mitarashi embraced Uzumaki. "Thank you. I love you, Anko-chan." "Ah, I love you too, my Naru-kun." "Anko Mitarashi, will you marry me?" asked Uzumaki, completely innocently yet seriously, with an adorable expression. "You're a bit too young for marriage right now, darling. Can you please wait until you're older?" gently asked Anko. "It'd mean a lot to me if you'll be patient with me, so we can both take the time to sort out whether that's what both of us really want," then gave a precious smile. "That was part of the plan, Haim. Let's take, say, 10 years to sort all of this out. Plus, you'll have developed and matured physically, intellectually, emotionally and mentally in that time." "Okay," Mitarashi mentioned, "when we're sure that's how we love each other, I'd happily marry you when the time's right," earning a precious smile from the boy. "As you wish, Anko Haim," agreed Naruto. "I'll make sure to take you on lots of dates in the meantime, so we have plenty of time to work out our true feelings for each other." "Good plan, my darling Naruto-kun. And I'll be happy to share you with Nai-chan. As long as that's alright with Nai-Haim too. And I'll do my best to do right by both of you." Kurenai smiled at how thoughtful the boy was being. Checking the time, Yugao gave Naruto a storage scroll. "In place of a backpack, have everything you need for the academy, sweetie." "Yes, Yugao-chan. Good boy," said Yugao, who smiled. I'll walk you to school when it's time to go, okay? Asked Anko. Okay. Can I prank Iruka-sensei? As long as it's a harmless one. Interior. Konoha, Academy, classroom, late morning. Naruto, how nice of you to finally join us. Where have you been for the last hour? Asked Iruka as Uzumaki entered, reading a book. With a shrug as he kept reading, Naruto answered, Sorry I'm late, Iruka-sensei. I'm afraid I got lost on the path of life, making some of his peers laugh. Iruka's sweat dropped. You're late because you've been hanging out with Kakashi. I would have been on time, but along the way, we were ambushed and chased all over the village by this possibly insane workout fanatic who was shouting about his flames of youth, added Naruto. Iruka went pale. I believe you. Stupid Naruto baka. I bet you can't even read, you idiot. Why does someone like you have a book? Screeched Sakura, making everyone cover their ears. You say something. Dismissed Uzumaki, ignoring the banshee, before taking a seat next to Shikamaru. Troublesome, muttered Nara. Would you have me any other way? Chuckled Uzumaki. No, I wouldn't trade having your troublesome self around for anything in the world. You're one of my best friends. Thanks, Shika. That really means a lot to me. What are you reading? Asked Nara, taking an interest. The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi by Jiraiya-sensei, answered Naruto. Any good? I think so, especially since I'm named after the main character. Shikamaru nodded. Oh, by the way, said Naruto as he smirked at the trio of idiots who lied to him, here's your souvenir, and held up a severed head, with a sickeningly sweet smile, sending them out screaming. After a moment as everyone looked at him in horror, except for Kiba, Hana, Shino, Choji, Hinata Shikamaru, Naruto did a hand sign, Kai. Revealing a party-sized bag of chips which he passed to Choji who smiled. Are you okay, Naruto? Asked Kiba, age 5, concerned, you weren't here the other day, and we all know you never get sick. I was being chased by Iowa Nins in the back hills. Why were they chasing you? I ate all of their food, answered Uzumaki, earning a high five from Choji. I'm a growing boy, ya know. Before doing a discreet hand sign, and whispered under his breath, muting jutsu. You're always thinking with your stomach, baka. Screeched Haruno, at the top of her lungs, almost making ears bleed, before completely losing her voice. Sound off. Quipped Naruto. Thank you for shutting her up, Naruto, said Hana, age 5, gratefully, as she smiled at Uzumaki. My pleasure. Hana, right. Yep. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Hana-chan, mused Naruto, with a grin. Mischievous, Hana asked, Oh, am I Hana-chan already? Naruto ruffled the back of his hair. Is it okay if I call you that? You have no idea how to talk to girls our age, do you, Naruto-kun? Talking to a short-tempered and impatient cage surrounded by a tree's worth of paperwork would be easier for me to master the art of, admitted Naruto, making his peers chuckle. Interior. Kumo, Raikage's tower, office, morning. The mighty, intimidating powerhouse that was the fourth Raikage sneezed, blowing his desk and the accompanying stack of paperwork across the room. Achoo, achoo, do you need a tissue? Raptor B as he entered the room, earning a glare from his brother. Interior. Iwa, Tsuchikage's tower, office, early afternoon. Whilst taking a sip of tea, Onoki sneezed, causing the hot beverage to spill onto his paperwork in his lap. Interior. Konoha, Academy, classroom, late morning. I've gotta learn the muting jutsu, sighed Iruka, and Sakura, you have detention for repeatedly screaming in my classroom, and abusing your peers. As the jutsu was released, giving her voice back, Sakura sneered, it's only Naruto baka, so it's fine. My mum says the baka deserves it because he's a freak. You've gotta stop being so mean to Naruto, interjected Ino. Sakura, consider yourself suspended for the next month. Snapped Iruka who gestured to the door, now, get out of my classroom. My mum will hear about this, and make both of you pay. This is the Shinobi Academy, reminded Shino. The civilian council has no authority here. As Sakura left, Iruka asked, "All right, everyone, when I call your name, I want you to stand up, and tell me your goal for the future or what you want to be when you grow up." Understood. Yes, sensei. Chorused the class. "Shikamaru, you're first." "Troublesome," muttered Shikamaru as he got to his feet. "When I grow up, I want to be a Jonin of Konoha, and have a family." "Ino, your turn." Ino stood. "When I grow up, I want to master my clan techniques, and be a medical nin like Tsunade Senju." "Tenten, you're next." Tenten stood. "I want to be a great kunoichi and kenjutsu master like Yugao Azuki, with skills that rival the 7 shinobi swordsmen of Kiri." "That's a nice one." Yukumo stood. "When I want to grow up, I want to be a master of genjutsu like Kurenai Yuhi." Rock Lee. The bushy-browed boy stood. "I want to prove I can be an excellent shinobi with only taijutsu, like Maeda Gai and Maeda Dai." "Naruto, you're up." As he stood, Naruto simply said, "When I grow up, I want to be happy and loved," earning concerned looks from his peers. "Fair enough, but is that really all you want?" asked Iruka, hoping for something a little more cheerful. "Was I supposed to say something like, 'I wanna be Hokage'?" "Datbeo?" asked Uzumaki, making people snicker, "or maybe something a little more dramatic and intense like." Naruto spoke in a deep, chilling, stoic monotone. "I'm going to show the world what true pain is, and stop all wars with the terror that pain will inspire," whilst a chill ran down everyone's spines. Iruka paled. "You really worry me, sometimes, you know that." Writing in his notebook, Naruto shrugged. "My real goal's to find a way to safely remove Orochimaru's curse marks, so I can help someone I love." Later. Exterior. Konoha Academy, rooftop, lunchtime. Sitting across from Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, Ino and Hinata, Naruto took out an ocarina. "Do you mind if I practice?" "You're learning an instrument?" asked Hinata. "That's wonderful." Naruto soothingly played concerning hobbits, earning smiles and a round of applause when he finished. "It seems you are a natural, and the tune was quite pleasant," praised Shino. "My colony also expresses its appreciation." "What's your secret to having learned so quickly?" asked Shikamaru. "Shadow clones," answered Uzumaki. "Troublesome." Legend says Tobarama Senju invented shadow clones to vanquish an evil so great and terrible that to this day it's remembered and feared throughout the elemental nations as Cage's Bane. "What could be so terrifying that it earns a name like that?" asked Hana as she joined them. After a dramatic pause, Naruto answered, "Paperwork," making his companions erupt into laughter, except for Shino, who smiled and allowed himself an amused chuckle. Exterior. Konoha Academy, courtyard, early afternoon. "First match will be Sasuke Uchiha versus Naruto Uzumaki," said Iruka. With a small smile, Naruto met his opponent's gaze. "Good luck, Sasuke." "You're the one who needs luck, Naruto. You're fighting an Uchiha. I'll be fine as long as your fangirls don't interfere. I don't need them fighting my battles for me. Tell that to them." After exchanging several series of combos without landing a strike on Uzumaki, Sasuke was hit in the gut before he leapt back, and did hand signs, fire style, fireball jutsu. Water style, water dragon jutsu. Countered Naruto as the latter jutsu went through the former, and knocked Uchiha onto his back, leaving him soaking wet. "You okay?" asked Naruto, offering his hand. Getting up with a groan as he took Naruto's hand, Sasuke replied, "Yeah, but my dad's going to be disappointed that I lost." "And how did it make you feel?" A few weeks later. Exterior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, private training ground, late afternoon. Wood style. Wood dragon jutsu. Called Naruto before a massive wooden dragon ascended from beneath the ground and lunged towards Tenzo, who narrowly evaded. "How do you know that jutsu?" asked Tenzo. "I basically had a tutorial in my mindscape made from Q-chan and Mito's memories of seeing Hashirama in action," admitted Uzumaki, "and one of my powers is being able to understand and master any technique." But unlike if I were using a Sharingan, I'm not copying the technique. Any idea why she wants you getting strong? She's way nicer than anyone stupid enough to call her a demon would expect, and very protective of me. Her father's the sage of six paths. And did you call her Q-chan before? Kara-chan insists on nicknames like that. Were you using her chakra for that wood dragon? She's on strike from lending it to me until I'm consistently on a healthy diet for a shinobi, and more physically developed. She's willing to improve my healing capabilities, and show me techniques, but says it's too soon to consider training in harnessing her powers. I can't believe I'm agreeing with her. She also says I should meet the Eight Tails Jinchuriki, Urbi of Kumo, when I'm training in mastering my Jinchuriki abilities. Why would she want you to train under the Raikage's brother? Because he's an old friend of my parents, and he's mastered and achieved complete control over his Jinchuriki abilities. They're in harmony with each other, and friends too. Only problem with contacting him is how strained relations between our villages have been. I also want to learn as much about sealing as possible, to honor my parents and the Uzumaki clan, and so I can learn how to free Anko-chan from the curse mark. I can help you master the basics of sealing, and bring you scrolls and books from our library to help you when I've taught you as much as I know about it. Maybe we can learn more about it together. Sounds good, Tenzo Nichan. If we're lucky, we might be able to convince Jiraiya-sensei to teach you next time he's in town. Kara-chan says that finding out I'm alive will be enough to convince the pervy sage to teach me, said Naruto. Tenzo burst into laughter. Pervy sage? Kara-chan says it's what Mum used to call Jiraiya-sensei of the Sannin, who's also one of my godfathers. Promise me you'll continue that trend. Wanna see another jutsu I learned in my subconscious's training ground, for lack of a better term? Sure. With a cheeky grin, Naruto said, don't blink, before throwing a kunai which multiplied by 500, then there was a yellow flash as he disappeared, and reappeared holding the original kunai in a reverse grip. Naruto threw several more of the kunai into various targets in a round perimeter, said, Rasen Flash Super Circle Dance Howl Stage 3, and once more became a yellow flash that raced around the training ground. Returning to Tenzo's side in a flash, Naruto asked, what do you think? I think the name needs shortening, and that you're going to give someone a heart attack. Interior. Iwa, Tsuchikage's office. A short, balding, big-nosed, fossil of a man sneezed, causing his mountain of paperwork to fall on top of him, knocking him off his chair, onto his aching back, and burying him in the accursed forms. Ah, my back, groaned Onoki. Interior. Konoha, ANBU HQ, private training ground, late afternoon. I think I'll shorten the name to Raijin Flash, said Naruto. If you keep doing it in the circle, you could call it Raijin Vortex too. That's actually pretty good too. Tobarama-kun invented the original technique, you're probably just rediscovering undocumented moves he created, said Kara, through her link to Naruto. I'll give you credit for the effort in renaming long-lost moves, though. At least if he hears them, he won't think you're being a comedian. Thank you for the compliment, my lovely Vixen-chan, thought Uzumaki. I love you too, my dear Naru-kun. Later. Exterior. Konoha, training ground, late morning. Practicing his ocarina after finishing training with 3,000 shadow and wood clones, under Izumi and Itachi's supervision, Naruto, in his redhead form, paused. Can you please come out now, Panda-chan? An adorable little girl, with chocolate eyes and brown hair in twin buns, approached Uzumaki. Hi, I'm Tenten. We're in the same class at the academy. Nice to meet you, Tenten-chan. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, replied the redhead. How long have you been watching? Long enough to see you go from blonde to redhead. And your whiskers are cute. Would you like to be my friend? As long as you be my friend too. Deal, agreed Naruto, who mentioned, Hinata-chan, I know you're there too, before the Hyuga heiress approached. A few weeks later. Exterior. Konoha, Hot Springs, Path, midday. Hey, pervert, shouted Naruto, as a redhead, as he crept up behind a man, with very long spiky white hair, who was peeking through a hole in the wall to the women's bathing area. Turning towards the boy who discreetly activated a voice-projecting and echoing jutsu, the pervert self-introduced, "I am not just any pervert, you naive boy. I am the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. One of the legendary Sannin. Author of the famous Ika Ika series. The great master Jiraiya the Gallant. And I am a super pervert." With a dramatic gasp, Naruto exclaimed, "You're the pervy sage." Before canceling the jutsu, making Jiraiya facefo. As he felt intense concentrations of ki, Jiraiya froze in dread before a dozen pissed-off towel, underwear and bathers-clad kunoichi beat the crap out of him. "Why did you have to do that to me, kid? Instead of peeping in every hot spring and bathhouse across the nations, you should be looking after Naruto, ya know." Jiraiya stiffened. "How do you know about my dead godson? I'm not dead, I'm standing right in front of you, ya know." Shaken, Jiraiya fell to his knees as tears ran down his cheek. "Oh, Kami, you're alive. I'm so sorry I haven't been here. If I'd known you were alive, I'd have been here taking care of you instead of abroad managing Konoha's spy network. I'll forgive you if you train me, make up for lost time, and teach me Fuinjutsu. After all, you're currently the only fully trained seal master in the village. Deal, and I don't suppose you know any gorgeous women. I know several, and I sensed a few of them on the side of the wall you were peeping on. This isn't how I wanted to meet you. Who told you I was dead in the first place, and why did you believe them? If it was true, Hiruzen would have told you in person, and had you return to verify the body and attend the funeral. The council told me. You mean Danzo Tem lied, like the politician and manipulative piece of trash he is. The civilian council shouldn't have known about you being my godfather. And the clan heads wouldn't dare lie about something like this if they knew, especially not the Inuzuka clan." "Got that right, cutie," agreed Sume as she appeared, in two towels, one wrapped around her waist and the other around her chest as a makeshift top. "Pervy sage, if you try peeping on Sumheim, or any other of my precious people, especially to get inspiration for your smut, I'll put you under a genjutsu that shows you made a guy's Colgate smile in the sunset technique on a loop for 72 hours. And there'll be 1,000 of him, oiled up and," threatened Naruto. Sume erupted into feral laughter at the horror on Jiraiya's face. "If you get any paler, you're going to look like your paedophilic psycho ex-teammate, Orochimaru Tem," teased Uzumaki, "ya know. I'll still be more handsome than him. By the way, Hiruzen wants to see you, so don't get lost on the path of life on the way to his office," said Uzumaki. "You have 2 minutes before he sends ANBU to bring you by force. Or I can deliver you via airmail." "What do you mean by that?" asked Jiraiya, who was lifted off the ground by an invisible force. "Ah." Lining up Jiraiya's trajectory with the Hokage's tower and office, with him facing towards said office, Naruto grinned, "Almighty push," before the lecherous sage blasted off like Team Rocket. "That was hilarious, Naru-kun," mused Sume, who was laughing so hard, whilst her impressive, perky, round DD cup-s jiggled, that her towels came undone, giving him a perfect view of her body which thankfully nobody else was around to see. As time around him seemingly froze, he re-wrapped her towels around her whilst admiring her figure, and used a couple of safety pins to keep the towels from coming undone again. As time resumed, Sume raised an eyebrow. "I could swear my towels just fell off." "They did, but I used super speed to fix that." "Oh, did you take a peek and have a nice feel of these in the process?" she asked, gesturing to her tits. "Briefly, while wrapping the top towel around you to cover them back up. If you don't mind me saying, they're very well developed, nice and firm with soft skin. I found seeing them pleasant, especially up close." Uzumaki gave the cutest smile. "And you're one helluva damn bitch with mesmerizing eyes, curves in all the right places, a fine and beautiful S, my dear Sume-chan." Grinning with flushed cheeks, the feral woman laughed. "Only you could say something like that to my face, at almost 7 years old, look like an innocent little angel in the process, and live to tell the tale. His cheeks flushed. Thanks, Sum-chan. You're welcome, Naru-kun, snickered Sum, and it's a bit too soon to be thinking about women's bodies, isn't it? It's a little late to ask that. True, and Kushina had no verbal filter when it came to compliments that others might think were a bit much. I have an idea for an anti-pervert jutsu that's also an upgraded version of the henge. But I'd probably be mistaken for a pervert while developing or using it. Oh, what's it gonna do? Turn you into a woman? Naruto shrugged. Well, if it works. The next day. Interior. Konoha, Ninja Academy, late morning. Taking the roll, Iruka called, Naruto Uzumaki. Before falling backwards off of his chair in alarm as a kunai with a tag attached flew into the back of his clipboard, making most of the class laugh. Reading the tag as he got to his feet, Iruka saw Naruto in the back row, with a camera. Good morning to you too. What do you mean? Do you mean to wish me a good morning? Or that it is a good morning whether I want it or not? Asked Naruto, earning raised eyebrows. Or perhaps you mean to say you feel good on this particular morning? Or are you stating this as a morning to be good on? All of them at once. Replied Iruka as he scratched the back of his head, and please don't throw kunai at me in answer to your name being called, before an origami bird landed on his desk. I was using nonverbal means of communication. Right. As Iruka lectured the class on the Kyuubi attack, Naruto, with Kurama watching from his mindscape with popcorn, raised his hand. Iruka-sensei, was the Yondaime Hokage intentionally being monumentally stupid? Earning stunned expressions whilst Kara erupted into laughter. Excuse me? Asked Iruka, aghast. There's a universal balance of power between both the Biju and between the shinobi villages. One can't truly a Biju. They're literally sentient masses of pure chakra with physical form. The most you can do is make them go through a regeneration cycle, since they're immortal. Where are you going with this? Every other village to encounter them seals Biju away, often inside people. If Yondaime-sama was reckless enough to do the former with the strongest of the 9, he left Konoha significantly vulnerable to invasion from other villages, like Aiwa, and their Biju in the wake of us losing him, a large number of shinobi, and the fox is our way of telling them to back off. What do you mean they seal Biju inside people? Asked Shoji, curious. Some of the most complex and advanced seals can seal a Biju inside a person. And even allow that person to eventually harness the Biju's chakra. Such people are often called Jinchuriki, the power of human sacrifice, elaborated Naruto. Biju are typically sealed inside babies, ideally newborns, since their chakra network and coils haven't developed yet. That way, they'll have time for their chakra coils to adapt during development so they can handle Biju chakra as well as their own. We don't even teach sealing at the academy. How do you know about something like that? Asked Iruka, jaw dropped. Better question. Why in the name of the Sage of Six Paths isn't Fuinjutsu taught at the Ninja Academy? It's one of the most useful, powerful and invaluable skills ever. And there are so many types of seals for different uses. Security, protection, surveillance, demolition, traps, transportation, storage, training, healing, incapacitating enemies, weapons, chakra control and suppression, resistance, endurance, maintenance, etc. Why wouldn't we be taught something so important? Interior. Konoha, Hokage Tower, office, late morning. Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Kakashi and a handful of ANBU were watching Uzumaki through the crystal ball. He just roasted his own father and our academy's curriculum, thought Hiruzen, Jiraiya and Kakashi. Interior. Konoha, Hokage Tower, office, afternoon. As he shunshined onto Hiruzen's desk, facing towards a huge, muscular, heavyweight champion of a man in an open white haori, Naruto scowled, watch that temper when addressing Hokage Gigi, or I'll punch you in the face. Lord I. The fourth Raikage laughed heartily until he realized Uzumaki wasn't joking. Nonchalantly, Naruto gave I an uppercut to the jaw with a chakra-enhanced fist, Shoryuken, sending him into the air before landing on his back. Rubbing his jaw as he got up, I asked. Boy, can't you tell I'm the Raikage? That's why I pulled my punch, Lord WrestleMania, answered Naruto, earning stifled laughter from a little girl, Naruto's age, with blonde hair and blue eyes, accompanied by Kurabia Kirby. And you wanted to punch me because one of your shinobi, or at least someone in Kumo shinobi gear, tried to kidnap a friend of mine, answered Naruto, whose hair defied gravity and spiked up. It was always going to end badly. Then he gave a sweet smile with his eyes closed. Yano. Hiruzen, is this Kushina's boy? Questioned I, having flashbacks about the redheaded woman. Yo, bro, it's an unspoken thing to know. He may not know who's friend or foe. Chimed in B. Kumo and Konoha ain't always get along, though they're like brothers. I'm asking because both of us are among his godfathers, if he is Kushina's son. Stepping off the desk, Naruto approached the little girl. Hi, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. What's your N? Pouncing on Uzumaki like a cat, the girl pinned him beneath her on the floor, and purred, I'm Yugito ni, before he turned the tables, pinned her down, lifted her shirt, and tickled her midriff, making her burst into giggles and smiles whilst squirming beneath him before the two kids looked each other in the eyes with kind smiles. Cats really do have ticklish bellies, joked Naruto. Especially me, replied Yugito, with a cute smile. Helping her to her feet, Naruto asked, will you be my friend, Yugito-chan? I'd love to if you'll be my friend too, Naru-kun. Naruto turned to the Raikage. If you and B. Nisan would humble me with training, I would be greatly honored, I-sama. As long as you don't use anything you learn from us against Kumo in the next war, if there is one with each other as opponents. I will accept your terms on the condition that Kumo never tries stealing bloodlines from Konoha again, said Naruto, whose hair defied gravity. It just won't end well for you, Yano. Especially when I enter the equation. No doubt about it. You're definitely Kushina's boy. Only Naruto could threaten a cage without causing a political nightmare. Sighed Iruka, who'd overheard the whole thing upon entry. Who's causing a political nightmare? Asked Danzo Shimura as he entered. At the same time, Naruto and Yugito screamed, help. Pedophile alert. B. Iruka, the Hokage's ANBU and the Raikage's bodyguards immediately assumed a protective formation in front of the kids, and the two Kage glared at Danzo. I'm not a, began Shimura. Then why, before the orphanage threw me out, were you always having unsupervised one-on-one time with little kids who'd then go missing, die under mysterious circumstances, or come back either traumatized, injured, or with no soul in their eyes? Asked Naruto. You never adopted any of them, and the ones who'd come back would scream for you to stay away from them, while having nightmares. Most of them were orphans with signs of having a bloodline, aka Kekkei Genkei. How do you even know what a Kekkei Genkei is? Really? You're asking an academy student that question? Wow, you're not just a pedophile, you're a senile pedophile. Danzo turned away, and stormed out of the room, cursing under his breath. 6 years later. Interior. Land of Water, within Kiri's border, missing Nin bandit camp, evening. Having taken out the entire camp of 1,000 bandits, Yami Kitsune, age 12, lifted his mask and gave a precious smile, making Neko and Tenzo sweat drop, before covering his face again. Pack anything of value or interest into storage scrolls. If any of the bandits have a bingo book entry, pack away their corpse for delivery to a collection office, ordered Neko before the task was completed in a flash. You're a long way from home, said a Kiri shinobi as he arrived with several of his village's special forces. Yami Kitsune studied the Kiri squad's leader, gravity-defying silver hair, one eye covered, most likely a badass, and possesses a dojutsu he wasn't born with in the covered eye. You must be the infamous Kakashi Hatake. The Kiri nin's face faulted whilst Yami Kitsune's comrade's sweat dropped. I'm Commander Ao of the Kiri ANBU, and it's actually blue hair, self-identified Ao. Who are you? I am Yami Kitsune. What's your business here? I'm not at liberty to say, Commander. Now, if you'll excuse us, we'll take our leave. Just a moment. My sword, Samahata, seems to like the little fox's chakra, said a shark-like shinobi as he brandished said sword. Put it away, Kisame, ordered a Kiri nin wearing bandages as a mask, with a broadsword resembling a butcher's knife across his back, picking a fight with a kid's beneath us. You're no fun, Zabuza. He's not a kid, he's a shinobi. And he'd have to be pretty strong to be in the ANBU when he's so small. Permission to socialize with the 7 swordsmen? Asked Yami Kitsune as he looked at his mission's squad leader. Tenzo nodded. Granted, Yami Kitsune. Kisame Hoshigaki and Zabuza Momochi, Yami Kitsune greeted, I'm honored to meet you and the rest of your comrades. Thanks, and I look forward to hearing what feats you accomplish in the future, replied Zabuza, since you're the only one covered in blood, I take it all this was your handiwork. Yes, I think I'm going to like this kid, mused Kisame, how's your form with that sword? I could show you a few moves, and a spar might do you some good. I would be honored to learn from one of the 7. Zabuza chuckled, make that 2. This is where the fun begins, mused Yami Kitsune as he drew his sword, taking a Sorazu stance as he infused chakra into the blade which emitted a vibrant hum and glowed blue. Interesting choice, Kit, observed Zabuza, taking his own stance. Were these bandits meant to be anyone special? I didn't waste time talking to them. One of them stole one of our swords, stated Kisame, embarrassed. Taking a uniquely designed sword from a storage scroll, Yami Kitsune held it out, this sword. Earning a nod. Would you mind returning it? Asked Al before catching the hilt which was levitated towards him by Yami Kitsune. Resuming his stance, alongside 6 wood clones, Yami Kitsune locked eyes with the shinobi swordsman of Kiri, shall we dance? Before he and his clones gracefully engaged their opponents in a duel. When they finished their duel, Yami Kitsune dispelled his clones, and caught his breath, that was fun, then noticed a young man with pupilless pink eyes, staring at him. What is it, kid? Kid, I'm 24 years old. I'm an adult. I'm Yagura Karataki. Yondaime Mizukage. Shouted Yagura, I'm very distinguished. And enjoying the paperwork, teased Yami Kitsune, making Yagura faceful whilst everyone stifled laughter. I'm having deja vu, telepathically said Kara. He's not the first Jinchuriki I've run into who wanted to be a Kage. But he's the first to become one. He's Isobu's Jinchuriki, right? Thought Naruto. Yes. Think he knows I'm your Jinchuriki. Most likely, and I sense he wants to fight you. Yami Kitsune, said Yagura who drew his hooked staff, prepare to defend yourself, causing everyone to tense. With his energy replenished by gathering nature energy, Yami Kitsune readied a Kenjutsu stance, and focused wind chakra into his blade, is this because I called you a kid? Or the paperwork remark? No. Then why do you, the Mizukage, want to fight a random ANBU? You're hardly random, Yami Kitsune. You held your own against the 7 shinobi swordsmen. Because I did my research on each of them and their swords in case I ran into them. Deadpanned Yami Kitsune, my sword versus your staff, no jutsu. Before Yagura nodded. Don't know how we're going to explain this in our report, sighed Neko, first mission out here, as a full ANBU, and he ends up fighting the Mizukage and the 7 swordsmen of Kiri. As soon as they're finished sparring, we're leaving, stated Tenzo who paled, oh, no. While Yagura activated his one-tailed cloak, using the 3 tails chakra to power his Juyo strikes, Yami Kitsune transitioned from his current Kenjutsu form to the tranquil and meditative Neman. Later. Exterior. Land of Water, Team Rose campsite, late evening. I'm sorry, did you just say that Yami Kitsune jeweled the Mizukage? Questioned Inu as he received their report. In my defense, he challenged me to a duel. I didn't deny him, lest I risk causing an international incident. A week later. Interior. Konoha, Military Police HQ, evening. As Yami Kitsune brought in a handful of scum, Fugaku asked, where did you find them? Alleyway outside Ichiraku Ramen. 2 were assaulting the owner, Tuki, and the other 4 of them were trying to force themselves on his daughter, Ayame, answered Yami Kitsune. Are they alright? They will be. Dr. Makoto and Dr. Yugao are looking after them. A week later. Interior. Land of Fire, Warlord's Stronghold, Dungeon, late evening. Any idea why this kid's so valuable? Asked one of the guards. She's just some orphan, isn't she? As they guarded a cell containing a small girl, age 7, with mint green hair and orange eyes, chained and suspended against a wall. Lord Orochimaru says she's the vessel for the 7 tails. Won't someone come for her? Asked one of the guards. They wouldn't know where to look, answered another guard. Even if they did, who'd come to rescue a demon's vessel? Another of her kind, the Yellow Flash, or the Raikage would. We won't live long enough for the I told you so, if that happens. Interior. Fu's mindscape. The approaching chakra signatures I'm sensing feel so familiar. One's Kara-chan, but who's with her? Wondered Chome as she recalled. It feels like Minato-kun and Kushina Haim, but I thought they were dead. Maybe they had a child, and that's who's coming, suggested Fu. That'd explain why the chakra presence feels like both of them. But I also sense the power of the 6 paths, Indra and Ashura. Interior. Warlord's Stronghold, Dungeon, evening. Unlocking the barred cell door after taking out the guards in a yellow flash, Yami Kitsune freed Fu, and caught her in his arms as she fell from her suspension. Awakening to find herself in Naruto's arms, looking into his eyes as he'd removed his mask, she asked, "Who are you?" "A friend who's come to rescue you." "What's your name, little Haim?" She blushed at being called a princess. "I'm Fu. We'll move faster if I carry you. Is that okay, sweetie?" He asked in a gentle tone, as though he were speaking to a younger sibling or his own child. Wrapping her arms around his neck as he held her, Fu felt warm and fuzzy inside. Exterior. Land of Fire, ANBU campsite, cabin, afternoon. Appearing in a yellow flash with his new friend, in front of Kakashi, Naruto informed, "Captain, my mission is complete. Fu-chan is safe," before gently setting the girl down on her feet. "You removed your mask. You know that's against protocol, Yami Kitsune." "I sensed her fear, and she wasn't conscious when I found her. She needed to see a friendly face when she woke up, instead of my scary mask." "That's reasonable. Since we're both Jinchuriki, can I know your name?" asked Fu as she looked up at the whiskered ANBU. Receiving a nod of permission, Naruto answered, "I'm Naruto." Fu beamed, tightly hugging Uzumaki. "Nice to meet you, Nichan." "Likewise, my treasured little sister," said Uzumaki as he returned the warm embrace, reassuring Fu that she was indeed safe and protected. "When we get you home, you and I are definitely keeping in touch. I know people like us aren't that popular or treated very well. It can be lonely and painful without someone to talk to. The paths we walk bearing the responsibility we've been entrusted with may tempt us towards the darkness. But I will not allow that darkness to claim or consume you. I love you too, Nichan," happily said Fu, "and I'd love to stay in touch." "So would I. Ah, they're so cute, and it's like they've known each other forever," mused Neko and Canary as they watched from nearby. Later. Exterior. Land of Fire, Taki, Waterfall, evening. Carrying the soundly sleeping Fu as she rested her head against his chest, Yami Kitsune was stopped by a handful of Jonin and Chunin. "Please don't wake her. This precious little bundle of joy has been through quite the ordeal, and needs her rest as well as some time to process what happened. Some counseling might be a good idea too." "Who are you?" demanded Shibuki. "Fu-chan's very protective older brother," answered Yami Kitsune. "I urgently need to speak with your leader." "Well, here I am, and what's this about?" Fu-chan's abduction wasn't at random. Her abductors were servants of Orochimaru. And they knew about Lucky 7. Several days later. Interior. Land of Fire, small town, hotel room, living room, evening. As he quietly infiltrated the room, Yami Kitsune looked at a busty blonde seemingly in her 30s, a girl in her early teens, and a pig. "Hello there." Startled as she whirled around, standing protectively in front of Shizune, Tsunade demanded, "Who are you?" Removing his mask as he stepped into the light, Naruto answered, I'm Kushina and Minato's son. Embracing him, Tsunade wept, Naruto, how is this possible? I was told that you died with your parents. Of course those bastard elders told you that. They also kept Jiraiya away as much as they could when he found out I was alive. They kept both of you away from me because I'm the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. How have you been treated by the village? Asked Tsunade, concerned upon hearing the word Jinchuriki. Have you been well taken care of? I found out my heritage from Kurama-chan aka the Kyuubi, who's a girl by the way, since Hiruzen wouldn't tell me, and made it all a secret. I was kicked out of the orphanage, in the middle of winter, when I was 3. The civilians think I'm Kyuubi in human form, and have tried to me thousands of times because of that stupidity. The shopkeepers overcharge me for anything and everything if they even let me inside their stores. The civilian council's been trying to sabotage my education, and block me from graduating the academy. The civilians treat me like a pariah. And my medical history has its own room. That does it. I'm returning to Konoha with you, for good. I'm sure Sandame will be thrilled to see you. And further training in medical jutsu would be appreciated if you're willing to teach me. Of course I will, but doesn't being a Jinchuriki make it impossible for you to use healing chakra? Interestingly enough, I seem to be the exception. I suspect my sage training and bearing the Rinnegan is responsible. Tsunade froze. Did you just say Rinnegan? Before he showed her his dojutsu. By the way, you owe me 12 years worth of birthday presents, Grandma. Cheeky brat, chuckled Princess Senju as she ruffled Naruto's hair. I take after my mum. You certainly do. By the way, I forgive you for your absence. And I love you, Grandma. I love you too, sweetie, mused Tsunade, who kissed his forehead, then placed a necklace around his neck. This was going to be given to you on the day you were born. Later. Interior. Konoha, Hokage's tower, office, conference room, morning. Entering with Hiruzen, Tsunade and Jiraiya stood before the council with a furious scowl. Raven, Crow, Inu, Canary and Yami Kitsune watched from the shadows. Tsunade, Jiraiya, welcome began Danzo, who received a punch to the face, sending him flying across the room. How dare you? Growled Tsunade. How dare you bastards lie to us about my grandson? About Jiraiya's godson? How dare you lie to us, and tell us he was dead? Who is this grandson you speak of? Don't play dumb with me, you piece of shit. You know damn well I mean Naruto Uzumaki. Bellowed Tsunade, shocking the council, and I know exactly what you bastards have been putting him through. Do you have any proof of relations? Sneered a civilian council member. How do we know this isn't some trick by the demon? How do we know he hasn't corrupted you? The only corruption here is spread by the greed of the civilian council, scoffed Jiraiya. Tsunade and I are both aware of Naruto's situation, and we are furious and appalled by this village's treatment of him. Minato would be ashamed and disgusted. He wanted Naruto to be seen as a hero, and the savior of the village. Not for him to be abused, hated, ostracized, discriminated against, and made a pariah and scapegoat. Yondaime would have wanted, began a civilian. I raised and trained Minato as though he were my own son. Bellowed Jiraiya, don't you dare claim to know what Minato would want better than I do. He entrusted Naruto with a heavy burden and responsibility that none of you can begin to imagine the weight of carrying. People like you disgrace Minato's memory every time you harm, insult, abuse and mistreat Naruto. Effective immediately, Naruto's now under mine and Jiraiya's legal guardianship as were his family, asserted Tsunade, her key flaring. About time this happened. Agreed Fugaku, many of the clans have expressed interest in adopting Naruto in your absence, though I know how inappropriate it would have been if mine did so, for reasons I need not specify. Fair enough. Of course the demon controllers would want their pet demon back. Sneered a civilian, I bet the Uchiha were behind the whole thing. Why else wouldn't they have done anything to stop the beast in its rampage? And why else would they always protect the reborn demon fox from his punishment? Before Yami Kitsune decapitated them. Hiruzen turned to the civilians. Get out. Mebuki began, but, get out of my sight, roared Hiruzen before the civilian council were forcibly removed from the building. We weren't on the front lines of the attack because we had orders to evacuate the people to the shelters, and because Danzo was already accusing us of being behind the attack, clarified Fugaku. In fact, he was so quick to accuse us one might think he was trying to divert suspicion away from himself. That's quite the accusation, Uchiha. Where's your evidence? Asked Danzo. Where's yours for your accusation? The orchestrator had the Sharingan. So does Kakashi Hatake, yet I don't recall anyone accusing or blaming him. Members of my clan died that night as well. They were found with wounds consistent with tipless Tanto blades, and their eyes missing. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, Danzo Tem? Seeing where this was going, Hiyashi stared at Danzo, activated his Byakugan, then rose to his feet. Danzo has a Sharingan eye under his bandages. In righteous fury as he approached, leaking ki, Fugaku slammed Danzo against a wall, pinned him, and reclaimed the stolen eye. How dare you steal the Sharingan? It was in the village's best interests, stated Danzo, stoic. No, Danzo Tem, it was for your own ambitions and lust for power. Accused Fugaku, all these years, you've kept requesting to induct young Uzumaki into the Foundation, your Route 2.0. And now we discover you're in possession of stolen Sharingan eyes. It's quite clear what your intentions have been for both the boy and the eyes you've stolen, from the very start. As if you yourself haven't thought about using your visual prowess to control a Jinchuriki and their tailed beast, Wicked Eye Fugaku. I am neither you nor Madara. And I won't let you harm or use the child as your weapon. Enough, shouted Hiruzen, leaking ki. Danzo, you're to return all Sharingan eyes in your possession. Fugaku, please consider the possible long-term repercussions if you were to Danzo before doing so. Given the current circumstances, ing him like this would only make people think he was right. Unhappy but knowing Hiruzen was correct, Fugaku gave a final stare at Danzo before returning to his seat. I don't like this, Lord Hokage. We have dojutsu theft laws, and Danzo's broken them. As Danzo and the elders were forcefully removed from the room, Hiruzen sighed, I hope things don't get out of hand when the rest of your clan finds out. They're about to learn someone with open prejudice against them has murdered an unspecified number of their own, and stolen their Kekkei Genkei, stated Fugaku. They'll be furious and outraged. Especially the elders. They may very well see this as the village stabbing us in the back, and launching a preemptive strike against the clan. If the latter, they will undoubtedly wish to retaliate in some fashion. This is going to be so damn troublesome, groaned Shikaku. Agreed. Later. Interior. Konoha, Uchiha Compound, Meeting Hall, early evening. As Fugaku informed his clan of the thievery, he felt a chilling presence watching from the shadows. If we don't strike back against the village soon, they'll wipe us out. Shouted an elder. We could find the Jinchuriki, and use our visual prowess to control him so he fights our enemies for us, suggested another elder. A Sharingan controlling a Biju is how we all ended up in this situation in the first place. Reminded Fugaku, and none of you are to lay a finger or genjutsu upon the boy. We're already suspected of being behind one Biju attack. It would only make matters worse for everyone if we actually caused one. And what would we accomplish if we went through with such a careless plan? Asked Izumi. Our own extinction. A civil war sparking a fourth great ninja war. Proving Danzo, and people like him, right. Who asked for your opinion, you half-breed trash? Sneered another clan member before a firm hand gripped their shoulder. Apologize to my daughter-in-law for your disrespect, now, commanded Fugaku. Later. Interior. Konoha, Uchiha Compound, Fugaku's house, dining room, evening. How was the academy, Sasuke? Asked Makoto, whilst dishing up. It was alright, but fangirls are so annoying, especially that Haruno girl. And I don't really know what to think of Naruto. He's nice enough for an outsider, but he always holds back against everyone during sparring. answered Sasuke, although not as much against teachers who are mean to him. Sometimes the display of one's own power and skill depends on those of their opponent, chimed in Fugaku, and they were likely going all out against him, if they really despise him. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Later. Exterior. Land of Rain, rendezvous point, early afternoon. Arriving invisibly, Naruto, in his uniform, saw an army of mercenaries, shinobi en route led by Hanzo of the Salamander holding a blue-haired woman hostage. Jiraiya and two figures in black robes with red clouds stood across from them. Hanzo, you will release Konan right now, or so help me, began one of the cloaked figures. You'll what? Yahiko of the Akatsuki. Deadpanned Hanzo. Then there was a yellow flash as Konan was suddenly free, standing next to her friends, whilst Hanzo's allies dropped dead. Naruto appeared in front of Jiraiya and his companions, with his back to them. You who use the flying Raijin, step forward and identify yourself, requested Hanzo. Removing his mask, Naruto glared with his Rinnegan, I am Naruto Uzumaki Senju. I hereby christen you Raijin's wrath. I shall remember you, declared Hanzo before Naruto cut him down in a flash, severed and sealed away his head, and burnt the rest of his body whilst blowing away his poisonous gas with wind style. Naruto turned towards his grandfather, Lord Hokage and Fire Lord Zuko personally sent me to aid you. The Fire Lord and Hokage sent you. Why would they help us? Asked Konan, isn't all of this the Leaf's fault? Only Danzo Shimura is responsible. He neither acts for nor speaks for anyone in Konoha or the Land of Fire. He's a war criminal in the eyes of both. So, what are you going to do about this, Danzo? Asked Yahiko. I have a few ideas. In the meantime, I must return to Konoha. However, summons will act as our messengers to inform you and Jiraiya-sensei when Danzo's been dealt with, answered Naruto before he vanished in a flash. Exterior. Land of Fire, Konoha, ANBU Outpost, evening. As 30 root agents appeared, they drew their tipless tantos, and moved to attack Yami Kitsune before being cut down in a flash, then the corpses were turned to mere grains of ash. Captain Yami Kitsune, are you out of your mind? Asked Ibiki as he arrived moments prior, you just did ANBU personnel. Danzo's root and the Foundation have been outlawed by personal decree of Fire Lord Zuko himself, along with the other lords and daimyos. Furthermore, anyone operating under their banners or orders from Danzo Shimura are to be considered an enemy of the Land of Fire and its allies, and a traitor, replied Yami Kitsune, who handed over a document. Danzo would never let such a decree become public knowledge. I was personally summoned to retrieve the documents by the Fire Lord. Root's been trying to intercept me the entire way back. The other feudal lords already know, and I'm sure the other Kage will have heard from them by now. You really are a headache. You know that, right? Asked Ibiki. I'm a post-headache, quipped Yami Kitsune. The end result of a damn good time. Earning amused expressions from his masked comrades. Kara, through her mental link to Naruto, burst into laughter. Interior. Konoha, Danzo's office, early evening. Realizing something was blocking him from using his voice, chakra, and stolen eyes, Danzo's eyes widened in dread upon seeing Yami Kitsune and his Rinnegan. As time around him slowed, Naruto decapitated Danzo, ripped out and destroyed all of the stolen Sharingans, then sealed the corpse in a scroll, and numerous files into others. Interior. Undisclosed location, Bounty Collection Office, early evening morgue. Naruto dumped Danzo's head on a table before receiving a handsome payment for the bounty, then vanished. Exterior. Land of Fire, Forest, late evening. Yami Kitsune had tracked a handful of Jonin-level missing nins who walked in formation with their hostage, a little girl, in the middle. She was gagged, her wrists and elbows were tied behind her back. She had fair skin, pale eyes and long dark hair, and wore black pants, a tank top and sandals. It was Hanabi Hyuga. Shadow Mist Jutsu, whispered Yami Kitsune, covering the area in a thick, pitch black mist before he substituted with Hanabi, and eliminated her captors by combining the Shunshin and Silencing. When the mist cleared, Yami Kitsune sheathed his sword, turned towards Hanabi, who was on her knees with fear in her eyes. He slowly approached her, knelt down, and ungagged her. Are you okay? Who are you? Yami Kitsune, ANBU Black Ops, answered Yami Kitsune as he severed her bonds, and helped her to her feet. Now, let's get going. I'll escort you home. Do you even know who I am? A snippy little firecracker, he teased. Hey, she indignantly protested before he lifted her into his arms, as if carrying a baby. What the? Put me down. I will when I get you home. He dismissed before they vanished in a flash. Interior. Konoha, Hyuga compound, Hiyashi's house, study, late evening. Appearing out of nowhere, Yami Kitsune gently set Hanabi down on her feet before noticing Hiyashi seated at his desk. Rising to his feet as his youngest daughter hugged him, Hiyashi smiled. Thank you for saving Hanabi-chan. Happy to help, Hiyashi-san, said Yami Kitsune, who gestured to Hanabi. Take good care of the little firecracker and Hinata-chan. I shall try my best, Naruto-san. With a sigh, Naruto removed his mask, then gave a small smile as Hanabi ran into his arms. You be a good girl, and take care of yourself and your precious people. Okay, little firecracker. Okay, Naruto-Nisan. Naruto planted a kiss upon her forehead. Amused, Hiyashi smiled. Hinata-chan will be pleased to know you get along with her friend. And you'll need to keep his secret, for ANBU aren't supposed to share their identities. Father, I want to be a shinobi even more now. Like Hinata-Nisan and Naruto-Nisan. What about Naruto-kun? Asked Hinata as she walked in to find her Hanabi with a masked ANBU and her father, then hugged her sister. Hanabi-chan, thank goodness, are you alright? What happened to the kidnappers? Naruto-san happened. He rescued Hanabi-chan, and safely returned her to us. Hanabi-chan seems to have taken Naruto-san as her elder brother. Explained Hiyashi. He even gave her the endearing nickname of Little Firecracker. Ah, that's so cute, mused Hinata. Ni-chan, can I sleep next to you tonight? Asked Hanabi. Of course you can, Nabi-chan. Clearing his throat, Yami Kitsune met Hiyashi's gaze. If that'll be all, I'll take my leave, Hiyashi-san. Thank you, Yami Kitsune. That'll be all, Hiyashi informed the younger man. Take good care of each other, Hiyashi-san, Hinata-chan, little firecracker. Farewelled Yami Kitsune, who vanished. A few weeks later. Exterior. Konoha, forest, Naruto's campsite, early sunset. Traveling with his longtime friend, a red-headed, bearded man approached the campsite. What are you doing out here by yourself, kiddo? His companion was a tall, imposing man, with pupilless light brown eyes and no eyebrows, in crimson-plated armor and a black, sleeveless, GI, a heat-resistant face mask that covered his neck, a conical straw hat with white cloth covering both sides of his face, blacksmith gloves, and armored boots. I'm camping, and cooking my dinner, Roshi of the Lava Release and Han of the Boil Release, stated Naruto, in casual clothes and his natural redhead form, as he checked on some salmon he'd been smoking. And who might you be? Asked Han, kind but reserved. Name's Naruto. You're an Uzumaki, aren't you? Inquired Han, studying the boy's features. Just like both of you. Answered Naruto, earning widened eyes. You're Kushina Imouto's son, aren't you? Inquired Roshi. Interior. Konoha, Forbidden Archives, Vault, early evening. Mizuki approached the forbidden scroll, then found himself unable to move. Appearing, Yami Kitsune executed Mizuki using a shorter, more refined, precise, and compressed lightning blade made of black lightning. Interior. Konoha, Ichiraku Ramen, morning. As he joined blonde Naruto, Shikamaru asked, how's being a genin on the reserves list going? Oh, if you only knew, Shika, thought Uzumaki, who shrugged. I have lots of time to focus on my training, honing my skills, and my studies for when I eventually get a team. Sounds exhausting. I've become quite popular with many of the jonins, Tokubetsu Jonins and ANBU, since they're often offering useful advice, tips and suggestions, sometimes even sparring and training with me. Sounds like things are looking up for you. And it's good to know you're doing well. Yeah, I've even been training in Senjutsu, and, began Naruto, whose eyes widened, that's how I do it. I should have realized that ages ago. Huh, realized what? Asked Shikamaru, confused. I can use Sage Chakra to destroy curse marks like the curse seal of heaven. Isn't that the one Orochimaru marks people with? Yep, and I have a promise to keep. Confirmed Naruto, who paid for his meal, then vanished in a shunshin. Shikamaru smiled. I hope whatever you're about to do works, you troublesome Uzumaki. Later. Interior. Konoha, Shinobi District, apartment building owned by Naruto, Kurenai Anko's loft, bedroom, late morning. As she sat on the bed with Naruto, Anko asked, "So, how do you remove the curse mark, Naru-kun?" "Well, first I need a clear view of it," replied Uzumaki, age 13, "I'm going to use Sage Chakra to purge you of the curse seal." "Oh, I'm gonna show you more than my curse mark," she flirtatiously teased as she seductively stripped off her shirt and an alluring purple bra, then jiggled her S with her hands. "Will you break Anko-chan's curse now that she's brought her titties out to play?" "Please, Naru-kun, as you wish." As his right index and middle finger glowed golden, Naruto, in sage mode, pressed them against her curse mark, which dissipated whilst she felt a soothing warmth throughout her body which healed every injury she'd ever taken, and corrected improperly healed ones whilst making her moan and shudder in pleasure. When he finished, she brought him into a close embrace, his face buried in her cleavage. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," before kissing him. "You're the best, Naruto-kun. You're one of my most precious and treasured people, ya know. I love you, Anko Haim. I love you too, Naru-kun. And it's probably weird timing, but you haven't started your seduction and seduction resistance training. Today's your first lesson. Who's in charge of today's lesson?" asked Naruto. Kurenai entered, wearing an alluring crimson dress, emblazoned with a black thorn pattern, that clung snugly to her figure and revealed a generous view of her cleavage, and black nylon stockings, both myself and Anko-chan. "You're on your own, Naru-kun. I'm not helping you resist these vixens, but I'm going to enjoy the show," informed Kara, through her and Naruto's mental link. Uzumaki turned to Kurenai. "Something tells me this will be especially difficult since I wouldn't mind you seducing me." Kurenai giggled. "Good to know, Naruto-kun. I have a feeling this'll be a greater challenge than fighting the Yondaime Mizukage again. I'll be sure to ask about that later." The next day. Interior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, Itachi's house, Fugaku's study, morning. Ensuring he and Itachi were in private, Fugaku instructed, "My son, you must portray yourself as becoming disillusioned with the clan to create doubt in those pro-insurrection. While I cannot bring myself to shed my family's blood, even to protect my godson, I know you will do what you must. If the clan won't call off their plans for a coup d'etat, you and those you can trust to aid you must be the ones to stop those involved. I already know who I can convince to assist me, though I have encountered someone from our clan who was believed dead who I'm certain will help if asked." "Who is this long-lost Uchiha you've encountered?" "It is not our place to tell Kakashi, but it is Obito who now calls himself Tobi. Though he claims to have encountered a masked man claiming to be Madara Uchiha." Fugaku paled. "If Madara is indeed alive, he will want the entire Uchiha clan eradicated. I will face him myself should he come, and protect my clan from him or die trying." "How will you stand up to his Mangekyo Sharingan?" asked Itachi. Then Fugaku's eyes changed. "I see, you have it like Shisui and I, before his own Mangekyo activated. Son, don't use those eyes unless absolutely necessary. I've never needed to use mine's abilities, and I've kept it a secret," stated Fugaku as they turned off their Sharingans. "I also know your comrade, Yami Kitsune, bears the Rinnegan. He should assist you in the coming battle if it cannot be prevented." "He's been here the whole time," stated Itachi, surprising Fugaku. haven't you, Naruto? Appearing out of thin air, Uzumaki deadpanned, I have a codename for a reason, ya know. It was supposed to be classified information. I already knew, given I was there when they placed your appearance-changing seals. Makes sense, exhaled Naruto, in his redhead form, but I sense intense hidden guilt from you. Something I should be aware of. Yes, a few things that will make you hate the Uchiha as much as Tobirama Senju was said to before the founding of the village. And I have some things to return to the Uzumaki and Senju. Naruto raised an eyebrow. I think we should continue this conversation somewhere far away from your clan compound, in case I react impulsively or violently. Also, my tenant's hatred for your clan due to the actions of Madara may be unintentionally sent through her chakra if what you have to tell me causes me to tap into it. Fugaku nodded in agreement. Yes, that would be for the best. Do you have anywhere we can go? Before the trio were engulfed in a black nebula. Interior. Shadow dimension. Where are we? Inquired Itachi. This is the Shadow Realm, it's a bit weird. Explained Naruto. Now, let's get down to business. When Fugaku finished confessing his and his clan's sins towards and their betrayal of the Uzumaki clan to Naruto as if he were in a confessional booth, Naruto's intent froze both Uchiha as he unleashed a mighty roar of righteous fury while going all the way up to the seven-tail cloak while the ground shook. As he returned to base form and dissipated his ki, having been in complete control of the Biju chakra the whole time, Naruto asked, now I've got that out of my system, shall we go back? Making the two Uchiha faceful, this place is also outside of space and time. No time will have passed, when we return. Interior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, Itachi's house, Fugaku's study, late morning. As he, Itachi and Fugaku returned, Naruto took several storage scrolls, and vanished via Shunshin. Now that Naruto Otudo isn't here, tell me. Was all of that true, or a very convincing deception to ensure he grows to hate the Uchiha, father? Did a faction of the Uchiha clan really aid in the destruction of Uzushio, and the eradication of the Uzumaki clan? Questioned Itachi, sternly, as they conversed in a genjutsu world. Yes, and I've just returned everything the clan took from the Uzumaki as the spoils of victory in the battle to Naruto. Including what route tried to take, but failed since we'd their detachment after the battle. And yes, it's true when we were kids, the elders of the clan wanted me and Kushina-chan to become romantically involved, so they could gain control of her and the fox later on. Of course she saw right through their plan almost immediately, and beat the entire truth out of me like Tsunade Haim using the 8 gates. Continued Fugaku, when I finally stood up to our clan's council, they chose to frame Kumo as an alternative method of acquiring the Biju. Minato-kun obviously stopped them, but neither of them made any indication they knew it was the Uchiha, not Kumo. Of course, such attempts were never repeated again after that. And we wonder why the village trusts this clan so little, scoffed Itachi. You told me to act as if I were growing disillusioned with this clan. After this little chat, I won't need to pretend. In truth, my own disillusionment with the ways the clan was being managed is why I accepted the role of clan head in the first place. I've done my best to change our clan for the better, but they are as stubborn as the Nara are lazy. Later. Exterior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, street, afternoon. Appearances and preconceptions won't tell you anything. Deadpanned Itachi as he loomed over some punks who were belittling his relationship with Izumi, while a large group had stopped to watch. For instance, you've made the mistake of assuming I'm a patient man. You have that filthy half-breed spreading her legs for you like a common tramp from the red light district. You really think that trash will ever be accepted among us? She's not even a real Uchiha, and will never be as powerful or valuable as a pure-blooded Uchiha, sneered the first punk. Half-breeds have no place in our clan. The clan, scoffed Itachi, leaking intent. You overestimate your abilities, with no idea of the depth of my own. And look at you now, groveling in the dirt. Obsessed with the organization, obsessed with the clan, obsessed with our lineage, hissed Itachi, disgusted, as he growled, a worthless compulsion that enslaves us. All it does is limit our capabilities, and that in turn leads us to fear what you don't understand. Stop, Itachi-kun, urged Makoto as she appeared before a kunai flew past her face, piercing the center of an Uchiha crest painted on a wall behind her. Itachi activated his Sharingan. I've had enough of this. There's no hope left for this pathetic clan. The people of this clan are all the same. You focus on the trivial, and lose sight of what's most important. Change is impossible in this fog of ignorance. How can we evolve when regulation's all we've ever known? Rushing over to her eldest son, Makoto closely embraced him. Please calm down, sweetie. Deactivating his Sharingan, Itachi returned the embrace as a tear trickled down his cheek. Forgive me, mother. There's nothing to forgive, my son. You were merely sharing how you feel, instead of bottling it all up, assured Makoto, and you were sticking up for Izumi-chan. A month later. Exterior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, Itachi's house, late evening. Having fought valiantly but in vain, Makoto and Fugaku lay dying at the feet of the masked Madara before he vanished as Itachi, Shisui, Izumi and Tobi, having completed their part of the mission, arrived on the scene. You three, get out of here, ordered Itachi. The swirly masked man gave a mock salute, aye, Captain, and disappeared in a clear vortex, while Izumi and Shisui shunshined away. Interior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, clan nursery, late evening. A humanoid figure, half black and half white, Zetsu, half sinisterly and half joyfully smiled down at his victims, the children, before sinking through the ground, proceeding to the bedrooms of his next victims, aka more of the clan's children. As she arrived to watch over and guard the little ones, Izumi's eyes widened in horror at the sight, then she shed a tear. No. Interior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, assembly hall, late evening. Having taken down a large number of the would-be Uchiha insurgents with the help of shadow clones, Yami Kitsune dispelled them, sensed a disturbance, and thought, something's wrong, there's more amongst the dead than there should be. Well, it wasn't our little pest control team's doing. We had specific targets. This isn't Order 66, replied Kara. Yami Kitsune vanished into thin air as though he were never there, heading for the rendezvous point where Izumi and Shisui were waiting for him. Exterior. Konoha, Uchiha compound, Itachi's house, late evening.